Okay, so let's take a look. So today I'm going to be working questions 17 through 20, dealing with two parentheses. Okay, so the first thing we got to do, the instructions are going to say simplify each expression. First thing we have to do is get rid of parentheses. So let me zoom into question 17. The way I'm going to get rid of a parentheses, I'm going to multiply the number on the outside to the numbers on the inside. So looking at the first parentheses, I'm going to go -4 times 9. That's going to give me -36. And then -4 times a positive 3a. That's going to give me -12a. Notice I multiply my numbers. Okay. Now, on the second parentheses, I'm going to multiply -10 times 6a. That's going to give me -60a. And then -10 times a -3, that's going to give me a positive 30. Remember, negative times a negative is positive. Now that I got rid of parentheses, the next step is combine your like terms. So I'm going to take a look at everything that has a letter. Okay, so I'm looking at -12a and -60a. I'm looking at the terms that have a letter. I know I'm going to combine those numbers, a -12 and a -60, because they have the same sign. I'm just going to add the numbers, keep the sign. So that's going to give me -72a. And then I'm going to look at the terms that don't have a letter. Do you notice that on the letter, I did not change the a? I just added the numbers. We call those coefficients, the numbers in front of the letter. Okay, now let me combine those that don't have a letter. So I'm looking at -36, +30. Okay, so the numbers are, the signs are different, right? One of them is a negative, one of them is a positive. When the signs are different, we subtract our numbers. So I'm going to go 36 minus 30. I'm going to subtract my numbers and keep the sign of the large one. The large one is negative, so let me call this -6 or -6. My answer would be -72a minus 6. All combined, right? No spaces in between. Mathematically speaking, -6, if you guys were to write -6 minus 72a, mathematically speaking, that's correct. But I want us to start getting used to combining letters first. So I'm not going to accept that. I'm going to accept this one, the one that has the letter first. So let's start getting used to combining letters first. -72a minus 6. All right, let's take a look at number 18. Get rid of parentheses. The negative sign in front of the first parentheses, that basically represents -1. So -1 times 10m, that's going to give me -10m. -1 times 8 is going to give me -8. For the second parentheses, +2 times 3m, right? 2 times 3 is going to give me +6m. And then 2 times 7, that's going to give me +14. Then let me take a look at those that have a letter first. There's -10 plus 6. When the signs are different, I subtract the values, keep the sign of the large one. So -10, +6 gives me a -4m. And then I look at those that don't have a letter. -8, +14. When the signs are different, I subtract my numbers, keep the sign of the large number. So it's going to be +6. I subtracted 14 minus 8 because my signs were different. The large number was positive, so I kept the plus. All right, so now let's take a look at number 19. That negative sign in front of the first parentheses is -1. So I'm going to multiply -1 to the numbers on the inside, and that gives me -1 minus 9a. For the second parentheses, let me multiply the 8 to the inside. So that's going to give me positive 8a minus 72. Notice how the last one, the 72, is negative, right? Because in multiplication, when the signs are different, I always change it to a minus. Okay, now let me combine my like terms. When it comes to terms that have an a, I have a negative 9 and a positive 8. Okay, the signs are different, so I gotta subtract, keep the sign of the large one. So for right now, let me just call this negative 1a. And then those that don't have a letter, I have a negative 1 and a negative 72. Both are negatives, right? When I have the same sign, I add my numbers, keep the sign. So it's going to give me a negative 73. And if I type this like this, negative 1a minus 73, it will mark it incorrect on our homework. What I want us to do is when the number in front of the letter is a 1, so look at negative 1a. When the number in front of the letter is a 1, I want you guys to start getting used to ignoring that number 1. So in this case, if this was a homework question, I will want you to type in negative a minus 73. Again, I want us to type the term that has the letter first, and I want you to start getting used to that when there's a 1 in front of the letter, we ignore the number 1. I'm not ignoring the sign, I'm just ignoring the 1. So negative a minus 73. All right, let's take a look at number 20. Let me multiply the 6 to the numbers on the inside of my first parentheses. It's going to give me negative 60v minus 24. On the second parentheses, let me multiply the negative 6 to the inside. That's going to give me negative 36 plus 30v. Okay, now let me combine those that do have a letter. Negative 60 plus 30, signs are different, so I got to subtract my numbers, keep the sign of the large one. So I'm going to call this negative 30v. And then let me take a look at those that don't have a letter. Negative 24 and a negative 36. They have the same sign. So I'm just going to add my numbers, keep the sign. So I must keep them as a negative. 24 plus 36 is 60. So my answer will be negative 30v minus 60. There you go.